Allow me to welcome you to a new era. We are officially on the other side of Neptune in Aries. It happened January 26, 2026, about 12:38 p.m. Eastern Time, and there's no going back. Nobody alive has ever experienced a Neptune into Aries ingress. It's so incredible that we're here at the beginning. This is really the fool stepping off into the void. Who knows what it's going to be? But already I can feel it. I'm wondering how you're feeling. It was a incredibly potent shift right away. It's potentially because just knowing astrology really helps, but there's multiple ways things can go. You can be completely unaware, and the karma of whatever's happening is going to come through. The significations will come through either way. But when you actually know the positive version of whatever it is, you can sort of push the balance. You can make preemptive decisions and act accordingly with what is available. And it's kind of like quantum physics. Like when you put your attention on the thing, it exists. And today was just out of the blue right away. So much more feeling an authority, feeling responsible for myself, responsible for my connection. Like the middleman has gone. The middleman has disappeared. It's so powerful and potent. Today I went to meditation with my friend Kristen. Together we've been aligning and collaborating. So the entire meditation had to do with Neptune and the energies that are coming through and bringing that into our life and how we want to manifest it in the next period of time, which is about 13 years. We have 13 years of Neptune in Aries. So this is significant. Knowing where it is in your chart, which house it is in, and if it's connecting to any personal planets or your angles or whatever, is helpful to help you manifest alongside of it. Now, the other thing to keep in mind is what has happened in the past. 165 years ago, what was going on? Colonialism. The United States was in the midst, the beginning of the Civil War. And you can see that there's some sort of that flavor coming through again in the world. There is definitely a shift that's going to happen with the elites and the power program. Now, the difference is going to be Pluto. Where Pluto was in 1861 was Taurus. That's critical to this story because now it's an Aquarius. So let's parse that out. I can kind of explain why this is relevant. Let's get an idea of what Neptune even is. So planetary significations give you an idea of what it rules. Neptune rules the collective unconsciousness, our dreams, our myths, our fantasies, all the things that we're idealizing as a collective. That's the ideals that come through about moral narratives and belief systems. That's all in line there. Also has a lot to do with sacrifice. What is sacrificed in this area? Spiritual justification and humanitarian visions that go beyond just structures and the coldness. It's more of an optimism. It's a philosophy. It's a spiritual connection. It's very vast. And it also has to do with mass identification. So wherever Neptune moves is the theme of the collective and what we are willing to apply our bigger spiritual optimism onto. And so sometimes that gets really messy because dogma can come in and confusion, delusion, fakery, those kinds of things. It's really easy because it's such an open-hearted thing. It's easy to manipulate for those that do so. Now, what is Aries? That's where Neptune is entered as of now. And that's the initiation point. It's the beginning. It's the beginning of the zodiac. It's so much energy. I see it as the Big Bang, especially at 0 degree. It's identity, it's self-definition, it's action, force, it's conflict. It's that empowerment of the individual. It's manifest destiny. It's the pioneer crossing the prairie, assertion, survival, and also war and confrontation. Now, there needs to be a shift in the comprehension of what war is and the value, what peace is and the value. If I can find it, I'll put a link in the description below to a talk by Joseph Campbell that really helped me reframe what I felt about war and peace. Just like everybody, war no, I don't want anything to do with it. I have 2 teenage sons. I have no interest in it. But whether we like it or not, there could be something like that coming through in this period. But ideally, it's more about a collective rising up against not each other, but the systems which are holding us back, the systems that make it impossible to get ahead. That's really the enemy that we should be fighting, not each other. So anyway, when Neptune is in Aries, the belief systems are not abstract anymore. Where in Pisces, it was anything was possible and real nebulous. And additionally, we don't really know what was real or fake, and all that stuff with the social media came through. And now with it in Aries, we're going to still have that. We're not going to, it's not going away. You know, we got to be real. Neptune in Aries is going to be an issue because the sovereignty of the individual and not being open to perspectives could be problematic. You know, thinking that you have the moral high ground because you have the certainty in it, there could be a lot of ideological conflicts. So another thing is the sacrifice. The Aries is a sacrificial, the martyrdom of Mars, Aries, you know, the warrior. I'm going to go out there and fight for what I believe in. There could be some fog on that. When we get worked up, this is really what's been going on, is they are giving us emotional whiplash. It's like, well, this thing just happened that was huge. And then the next day, that thing, which in the past would be like, for a long time, you'd be processing. The next day, there's already something else. So we're looking in a million places at once. And so it's really distracting. That's part of this Neptune in Aries. It's going to be difficult to understand the truth of what is the collective embodiment and what is the individual's responsibility, what action, which confrontation, which risk is right. But we also need to not just shut everybody out with different opinions and because it's uncomfortable, or you know, that cancel culture of the the Pisces Neptune period. It just can't be anymore. There's going to be a lot of opinions, and the debate should be valued. Let's circle back to where Pluto was in 1861 and how this is different. Now, the significations of Pluto include power, control, destruction, regeneration, what needs to be transformed for survival. So when Pluto was in Taurus, it was more about what needed to be changed or transformed that had to do with land and territory, resources, food, labor, bodies, wealth, property, material security. Slavery at that time was a function of the Pluto and Taurus system because human bodies were perceived as property. Wealth was generated, a lot of wealth was generated through forced labor, and the industrialization increased the stakes. There was just so much money involved. And war came along and devastated not only the system, but the land and the people and the lives of but of everybody, right? The agriculture, the material security, how things were done. History is told by the victors. And the way that I get around that is to read as much first person narrative as possible. I do have quite an interest in that period, and it just came on within the last year or so, and I became sort of obsessed by Ulysses S. Grant. I read so many of his stories. My sister lives in Missouri, so that's where we went to visit. That was where his house is, and that's where he was stationed. Understanding his story through first person narratives, it totally shifted how I understood him. And then we went to the Arch in St. Louis, and inside the bookstore there, I saw this book about slave narratives, 100 slave narratives, and it was in their words. So in 1930, somebody went around and collected word for word, you know, transcribed what 100 different former slaves' experiences were. And I just looked at that book and went, oh, I know I need to read this. I don't want to. I was afraid. And so I bought it and I started reading it. And the first person narrative just wipes out all of the other narratives because you have a source document. This is an actual person's experience. It's not someone's opinion of an experience or an analysis of an experience. And it just showed how even slavery was a bell curve, you know, and we're taught that it was just evil 100, but there are so many different perspectives. Anyway, kind of a tangent there, but that's my way that I handle understanding history, is to try to get to the first person document as much as possible because everything else can be manipulated. Even that can, but that's the best we can do. So in 1861, when Neptune entered Aries, we had Pluto and Taurus, and the ideological conflicts were about land, labor, property, personhood. And now in 2026, Neptune is in Aries again, but Pluto is in Aquarius. So the ideological shifts are going to be towards systems, technology, information, networks, collective identity. And you can see that's exactly where we're headed. That's exactly where we're headed. It's all these systems that are old and decrepit. The Neptune in Aries with Saturn coming in is a more responsibility, it's more sovereignty into that space of the individual. And the individuals have been just, we're just numbers. We're just numbers. So there's a key distinction here when the numbers, like think about ants or bugs. There's so many bugs. I just think, like if ants all decided that, bro, these humans, we're done with them, we would have a problem. They could definitely do something if they all came together. The way to work best with this is to find your connection to spirit, find something that you can foundationally fill in those places and spaces where the foundations are cracking in structures and systems. The coalitions that we can make with groups that are smaller, right? We are not looking for this massive globalization. We need to look towards people that are like-minded, that have similar goals, similar interests, and we make these collectives where we do, it's like artisanship. I think that's what's going to come back. It's not this mass quantity of things. It's not fast fashion anymore. And how much can I get? How much can I put in the landfill? It's different now. We're working towards something that's a little bit more aligned with nature, more aligned with quality, and a connection that comes through spirit to the self. Just really wanted to connect today and go a little bit deeper and hopefully put a little more context onto what's coming forward, whereas it feels like we're going towards something that may be against the people, but honestly, it's going to be for the people. But we have to play our part and we have to continually be open to the shifting of truth because there is no absolute truth. Even if we believe with all of our heart that something is true, there's always a counterbalance. There's going to be somebody that believes just the opposite. And somewhere within this kaleidoscope of beliefs, of certainty, potentially an absolute truth could be like, the Arkenstone or something like, okay, here's this one little nugget of all these people's perspective coming through to make an absolute truth. So in the midst of that, we can be open to different perspectives, listening to each other, believing in ourselves rather than what is being told and shown to us, which can be obviously very, very difficult to understand what's real and fake anymore. And that's where I am, and that's sort of the idea I wanted to share with you today. I like you just the way you are. We're in a new era. Thank you for being here with me today, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Okay.